Okay, just wanted to talk a little bit. It's like a combination, Parsha, Rosh Hashanah, all coming together. I just want to, first thing I want to say is that, as we know, that people who are aduk, attached totally to Kudsha Brichu, so the Rebbeinu Shalom does things which they don't even know what's going to be or why it happens, but since they're attached to the Rebbeinu Shalom makes it happen. I'm going to say of a Maisa, it's a well-known Maisa. If you know it, good. If you don't know it, even better. It's with Reb Moshe Feinstein Zatzal. And the story goes that he was a Rav, I forgot the name of the town, in Europe before he came to America. He was a young man, and he was the Rav in the town. Luban. And in that town lived a Meiser. And the Meiser would go, every opportunity he had, he'd go and tell to the government over there that, you know, anybody who did anything wrong, or he decided the guy did something wrong, he would go and he would master the guy and say all kinds of bad things about him, and the guys would get in trouble. And obviously he was the most hated guy in town. And in the guy's Sava, he died, and in the guy's Sava he wrote that he has charata for all the tsaris that he caused all the Yidden. And because he has charata, he wants that he doesn't want to be buried with the rest of the Yidden who are buried in the regular Beis Olam, and therefore he should be buried outside the Beis Olam in a separate section outside the fence, because nobody wants to be buried with him, and that'll be his tshuva l'olam. Like it'll be a stand l'olam that he was the Moshe, he'll get the Bizyonis. So the Chevra Kadisha went to Reb Moshe and they said, like, what should we do? So Moshe told them, you should know that since a person is not a Baal, he doesn't own his guf, you don't have a right to do what you want with the guf doesn't belong to you, and the halacha is that if a person was a Yid and he died a Yid, he has to be buried in the regular cemetery with everybody else. Halacha is halacha, even though nobody wants to be buried near the guy because he was a Russia, but that's the halacha, that's what you have to do. So Chevra Kadisha didn't want to listen, but by the last prayer, he was the Rav, they listened and they buried him together with everybody else in the same area. A few days later, they see the soldiers of this government, whatever it was, they're looking around, they're digging up the field outside the cemetery. So they go over to the soldiers and said, what are you looking for? So they said that the commander, whatever it was, the governor of that area got a letter from this Meshumad, or I don't know, Maisa, I don't know if it was Meshumad, before he died, and he said that the Jews of this town hate you so much that me, Meiser, who was your best friend, who everything I did was for the good of the government, to find the Jews and get them in trouble and everything else, I did it for you. And these Jews are so horrible and they hate you so much that because I was good to you, they're going to bury me outside their cemetery. So they came and they saw that the Yid was buried amongst everybody else. And they saw Mamish, the Yad Hashem, how Reb Moshe, b'chachmasai, or I would say b'adikusai, to the Rebbeinu Shalom, Rebbeinu Shalom made it happen. If when you listen to halacha, you do the Torah and mitzvahs, then great things will happen. So of course there's a meridic lesson to learn, even though if we don't go to Mikubalim and Rebbes and Rosh Hashivas for brachas, the Ika is, as every good Litvak will say, you have to be mizdabek b'kudsha brichu, and every good Yid will say the same thing. And in Mela, you'll be doing Ratzon Hashem, and then he'll do good things for you. And we know that everything that happens to a person, like it says in the pasuk, it's this week's Pasha by Bikurim, v'samachta b'chol asher tov. Right? You should be happy with all the good that I give to you. We're talking about Bikurim. The lashon is v'samachta b'chol atov asher Hashem elokecha noisin lefanecha. So, two questions. First of all, why is it over there double lashon Hashem elokecha? Samachta b'chol atov Hashem noisin lecha. So, what I wanted to bring about a little bit is that everything that we have in this life, which we perceive as hana gashmi, let's say the guy won the lottery, is that a hana ruchni or hana gashmi? It's pashas, it's hana gashmi. I got $1 million, so it's hana gashmi. I can now go buy 500,000 hot dogs, right? That's hana gashmi. Really, it's a hana ruchni. Why? Because it's not the simcha. Because I don't know, if I would know anybody who eats 500,000 hot dogs, he's not going to be besimcha. He'll be sick, literally like a dog. Pun intended. But it is saying, so where's the simcha? The simcha is that he has now the ability to do something. Why is it ani chashuv kameis? Not because he doesn't have money to go buy whatever it is that he wants. It's chashuv kameis because he's so busy with the daiga of not being able to pay or buy whatever he needs. That's the daiga, which is really a davar ruchni. The daiga is I don't know if ruchni is the right word. I say it's pnimius as opposed to chitzonius. So really, all simcha that you have is a simcha pnimi, and all everything that happens in a negative way, it's not pshat that I lost by losing money. Is not pshat that because I don't have the money. It's because now I have to worry. What am I going to do? So it's all pnimi. And in the parsha, when it talks about the klala and the bracha, if you think about it, yes, avada 100% that has to do with gashmi. But the ikka, and you ask anybody who has a bisala hergish, you realize that everything that happens to you is all a chilik. Every klala that it says in the parsha that a person will happen, it's a klala gashmi, but really it's a klala ruchni, pnimi, I should say, because it happens. Whatever happens, you see Nebuch, a guy's house burnt down or whatever it is, whether he has insurance, he doesn't have the insurance. It's the daiga, it's the what happened to him that's so painful on a pnimius dega oifen. That's the problem. You see the same thing with shidduchim. You see chas v'shalom, somebody has a relative that was nifta, right? It's the pain, and it's an internal pain. It's always a pnimi. Everything that happens to a person is always, the shirish of it is always the pnimi. It's not so much the physical, that if you lost a few dollars or if your car got in the accident. When chas v'shalom someone's in an accident, it's the tumult and the upsettingness, and now you have to go here and you have to go there. It's the tircha and the upsetness. That's the ikazach. And just to show a little bit that in Avodas Hashem there are 4 parts, and 2 of them are pnimi and 2 of them are gashmi. And I say gashmi, chitzoni is the proper word. I'm quoting you from the Arizal. He says there's Ava, and there's Yira, and there's Torah, and there's mitzvahs. Ava is a pnimi. Yira is also a pnimi. And just by the way, that Ava is gematria Yud Gimel, which is Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim. So if you have Avas Hashem, if you dovek by Hashem, you could be Zoicher to the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim. And Yira, as everybody knows, is gematria Rayu, which is gematria Gvura, but it's a pnimi, it's behelam. Torah, if you sit and learn Torah, right, you're talking, it's more of a chitzoni. Even more chitzoni is mitzvah. And you can see it in the word itself. This is a known drush, that the word mitzvah, that if you take the word mitzvah, the mem in atbash is a yud, and the tzaddik in atbash, mitzvah is a hey. So the first 2 Isiyas in Shem Havaya, as everybody knows, the Yud is Keneged Chachma, which is Meichin, which is Behelim. The Hey, first Hey is Keneged Bina, which is a little more Begila, but it's also Behelim, right? So those first 2 Isiyas are Behelim, because the only way you see them is through the Atbash, which is Mem Tzadik. The last 2 Isiyas, which is Vav and a Hey, don't change. They are Begilui. So the Torah is Begilui, and the mitzvahs are much more begili. The last hay is connected to Malchus, which is Maisa, which is much more begili. So you see how everything is set up. There's a Helam, there's the Pnimi, and then there's the Chitzoni, which is more the Gashmi. And as learning the lima that we do, learning side, you always see that in order for anybody to do any Maisa mitzvah or to do any Maisa, at first, the shirish first has to be from the Meichin, right? Your brain says, let's go to the store, right? And then the other part of your brain says, how am I getting to the store, right? They have to go down this block and turn here. right? And then finally you get to the store. And then that would be like the Torah as a mashal. And the last part, the malchus part, is coming home with the bread that you went to the store for. So it's every single part of a person's chiyus is going on the zelva mahalach. That's the Rebbeinu Shalom set up a bria with madregas, and everything has to go madregas. And the reason he did it is not for himself, but he did it all for us, because the way our brains work only could work in madregas. Without madregas, nothing works. See also, that's in the pasuk. It's in the next parasha, but it applies all over. Hanistarais Lashem Elokeinu, v'haniglais lanu uvanenu. But since we are Am HaNivchar, and we're all coming from Hashem Elokeinu, right? So the nistaris of Hashem Elokeinu, so on his level, totally behelam. On our level, we also have nistaris, right? What's the gilui of your machshava? It's through your mouth when you talk. But there's 100% gilui in every single person, right? So it also brought down, as we learned, that he brings the Pischei Sha'arim brings it b'shem the Rishonim, that if you look at the Metzach, look at somebody's Metzach, you're able to see everything that's going on by him. Okay, so we have our work cut out. But in any event, the ikka is that if a person's davak b'Hashem, so then the clarity in his vision becomes very clear. Similar to that ma'aseh I said earlier, it's not pshat, you go training and how to, schlep money from people, and if you give me $100,000, I'll guarantee you to have a kid. The story, many stories like that. But that's not the ikka. The ikka is if a person's davak b'Hashem, things happen on their own. So the ikka is, and especially as you're learning pnimius, and you see, the main thing is that it's machshava, and it's your hageshim, and it's your ava and your yira that is ne'elam min ha'einayim, but it's open in the pnimi. So when we learn Said, what is Said teaching us? Said is teaching us be'ikka one thing. That first of all, the Einei Hashem El Yireyav is non-stop. It goes on la'olam, whether you're up or whether you're sleeping. Even though b'tardema you lose half of your things, it's 60% you're like toich misa. But Einei Hashem El Yireyav, Hashem is mamish with us every second of every day, and it's also Eina Pekicha. There's always eyes open, right? We don't have that ability. Our eyes are closed. We blink a whole day, and when we're sleeping, our eyes are closed. We don't know what's going on. And when our eyes are open, even our brains could be closed, right? But it's Einei Hashem El Yireyav. It's always an Eina Pekicha every second of every day. Now we're coming into Yemei Hadin, and there's an extra look. And it's not that it's an extra look that it's on a bad note. The Rebbeinu Shalom is looking to catch us. Chas v'shalom. He's looking to find us a schus. So, and where does he look? He's not only looking at your ma'asim, he's looking where your ava and yira is, inside your pnimi is, and that's the ikka. So we learn Said is the ikka pnimi. And you see every ice and every tag and every trop in the Torah is pnimius and has a double meaning. So too by us, we should be zeicha, first of all, to understand a little bit of it. And once we understand it, hopefully we'll be able to act on it and continue machshavas tovos, and maybe one day we'll be zeicha to have einayim pekuchais and as paklaria de meira. And the last note is that we should be maskilim kizaya harakia.
Didn't the Ramchal Rasha leave Eretz Yisrael?